Trucker Rod and S.E.E here, and it's Monday, September 30th. So before we get started, if you could, like, share, subscribe, helps get us moving out there for recommended videos on the YouTube algorithm. And going forward here, as you know, tomorrow's the big day. Surprisingly, I had a couple deliveries today, and at one of my deliveries, the owner didn't even know there was going to be a port strike. Yeah, that's that, and the Hurricane Helene is the two big things going on. Being the hurricane, I am down here in West Union, West Virginia, so I am still probably about an hour and a half north of Charleston, but I got to go into Elkins tomorrow, down to Beckley, West Virginia, then Lewisburg, then I will drop down the 220 there outside of Covington and go into Roanoke. And that's my last stops is Roanoke and Martinsville, because I'm maxed out right now on the trailer. So with that, I don't expect any problems with the rain or the effects of the hurricane. Even though they said it was still raining all day today up and down the East Coast, it has been since I popped into Ohio, probably want to say around Lima, and it's either been a light rain to heavy at times, but I don't expect too many problems in the areas I'm going to go to. Now last year I did get in the flash flood going to Spencer, West Virginia on a back road, and I remember I had to back up about 2 miles in the winding roads in the mountains, me and 4 other trucks. Had to take our turns backing down the road. I think we were hung up for 2 hours. I had my day cab then, and it was up to the top step of the fuel tank in the low areas, well, I want to say the washed out areas, and I basically got back through it all, turned around, very narrow road, but there was one old, used to be abandoned gas station. The property was there, but the building was gone, but it was big enough for us to back in and each one of us to turn around and get out. So it does happen quick. I've looked on, and if you really want to see a lot of these videos, mainstream media on the hurricane results in that, X has a lot of personal videos from people that are living in those areas. And right now, Ashland, what was the other one? By Lake Lure. There was another small town completely wiped out. I mean, it was just like if you built a sandcastle and then the tide came in and washed it out. That's what's left, is nothing but just splinters and mud for where a lot of these towns have sat. And the conspiracy theories, well, I can be a conspiracy theorist, but a lot of the folks, there's a lot of folks that are just already chiming in about things that are going on. But this seems to be, under this current administration, East Palestine, and now this. And there's been rumors that they've already deployed most of the National Guard down there overseas. FEMA's just gonna have to work with what they got, because they just sent a big package of money over to Ukraine, and I think they're putting one together, or just wrapped one up for Israel. So if that doesn't tell you that the government will not have our back, and I've been saying that right along, so I just continue to work and look out for myself and not be codependent on a local, state, or federal agency to ever help me whatsoever. So that's the way I take and wake up every day in my life, is it's me, my wife, and my kids. That's it. That's all I got. That's all there's gonna be. And so oh, what else? Let's see. The port strike is going to start. It's going to go up and down the East Coast. So it's going to start up in Maine. and it's going to go all the way down the East Coast, Baltimore, Jersey. I don't know if Norfolk is the shipping yards for the naval. Savannah and all the Gulf Coast, Jackson, Jacksonville, Miami. I think Tampa may have one. New Orleans, Houston. They're all going on strike. So the only ones that are not on strike is going to be the West Coast. Long Beach is the big one, all the way up to Seattle. So right now, the talks last week has been they're not going to be able to divert a lot of that stuff that's coming through or scheduled for the East Coast. Cost factor, the Panama Canal cannot handle it. The lake that they built the Panama Canal to raise and lower, the locks, has been in a drought. It's low. So they've already asked the last couple of years, I think it's 2 years now, they've said that most of the freight has had to cut back a third or half of their weight so they don't run aground. And the Panama Canal is not equipped to handle the volume that would need to take on the East Coast, Gulf Coast, to run them over to the West Coast. And fuel consumption, because of the Red Sea and the Houthis right now out there lobbing missiles, they said a lot of these freighters and what have you are going around the Horn of Africa. It's costing them an extra 1 million barrels of fuel to get around that alone. So logistically, yeah, it's not going to happen. And Baltimore is the big, that out of all of that, they're the biggest ones for the roll-on, roll-off. That would be cars, tractors, things that just roll on, roll off, easy unload. They don't go in containers. That's the main hub there for the automobiles and agricultural and construction equipment. So you see that is going to, stop. I was speaking with my spouse and I said, if we had a rail strike, it would affect bulk hauling in the country here, but it wouldn't disrupt our shelves so much in the grocery stores, because they could transfer a lot of that over to the trucks, even though it wouldn't be dollar cost wise economical, but they could still get it moved. Right now we're talking about what manufacturing we have here is getting exported through the East Coast, and it's going to affect that and the import of what we buy and bring in. I remember when I ran produce, I would pick up water chestnuts. My spouse is in. She is blue wrenching in the chat, but I think she remembers I picked those up and I took them up back home up by Holland. I picked up blueberries. I picked up raspberries. So a lot of berries, and they come out of Chile. So I picked up a lot of fruit off the Baltimore ports and brought them back across. So I will tell you that a lot of the produce is gonna hit hard, quick, fast, and in a hurry. They said for every week that these ports are shut down will be a month of not getting any shipments. So 1 week is going to amplify to a month of not getting stuff to the shelves. So it's going to cost $3.7 billion a day for the ports to be down. And yeah, and I did do turkeys out of New Oxford, right outside of Harrisburg. I did that for Costco, and I picked up cucumbers down in South Central Florida for Vlasic and brought those up. So I was very blessed to haul produce for over a year, and that's a different experience than, I think if I was to do anything the next time, if I was to go out, I would probably do step deck. But anyhow, these ports, they're going to really get, it's inevitable. They're going to Biden said no, he's not going to intervene. That Taft-Hartley doctrine, he's not going to intervene over, because this is a collective bargaining. So this has nothing to do with that. So as I read on it, I put quite a few links down in the description. And I also would say, if you don't have an X account, get an X account. Go in there and just search Hurricane Helene, and you're just going to see for miles and miles of videos, posts. People are just looking for friends, family, loved ones, whoever, to see if there's any posts, if anybody's, done anything to see who's alive. A couple of the videos I watched, they're already seeing in Asheville, they're seeing human bodies floating down the river, human body or in the water, human bodies sitting that have drowned in parked cars, and these people are deceased, they're dead, and they're in trees. So it is a mess. Right before I went live here, it was up to 119. I'm sure it's way more than that, but it's just going to continue to get worse and worse once crews can get down in there. Right now, the Interstate 40's washed out. They do have 20 back up and going, but 40's down. So a lot of your arterial infrastructure, highways, roadways, are down and out. So right now, I've watched who was it, Bruce Wilson, over the weekend. He was going to try taking a wrecker down there and see what he could do to help, but they said don't bother. There's no roadways to get in or out of there. So what are you going to do? The best thing they can do right now is, if you own a helicopter, donate it in your time, get down there, because they need an air flight, food and water in, medical supplies, and get people out of there. Helicopters are the number one thing they need right now to get in and do rescue and recovery. So, so this port, I expect it's going to hit us here, what I'm doing. Across the board, it's going to slow trucking freight down to a screeching halt. And I'd say it's really going to be devastating. They said once it hits about 4 weeks out, that's when you're really going to see the shelves. So I would say if it starts tomorrow, by November 1st or by the election, you're going to see grocery stores bare. You're going to see uncivil arrest. So the one thing that's going to snap the people is not being able to go and obtain food and personal hygiene, other stuff. That's when the civil unrest is going to be. So this administration, I don't know. They got to do something, but they got this hurricane on the other side too they got to deal with. Plus they're playing tiddlywinks overseas on these wars. I don't know. I don't agree with that. I think we should come first, but there's higher powers than politicians that are pulling the strings, and they have an agenda, and we're not part of it. So the ports, that biolab that blew up, they already had told some of the Saturday shifts, from what I was listening and reading, that don't come in. There's some stuff going on. So they don't know if it's another conspiracy theory, someone doing something. But whatever it is, something reacted on the roof of that and set ablaze. What they're saying right now is some people are smelling chlorine in the air, can taste it in their mouth. So again, on X, you can just, and this isn't just stuff I'm reading, it's also videos I'm listening to from people that are, a couple miles from there. They're seeing the big black flume of smoke, and if you're north, you're fine. If you're south of it, it's gonna come across your house or to the east. But people that are reporting are living on the north, they're a mile or to 6 miles north of that. They're not getting affected by the flume and the smoke and stuff for inhalation. They're recommending to shut your doors, windows. I mean, get inside, shut your windows, don't turn your AC on, none of that stuff. But they're not mandating it. They're recommending it. So I don't know. This is another East Palestine, and it's kind of weird. Would you say that we've already had 2 of these spills under this administration? So it just makes me wonder. You got to question everything. I can be an SOB because I start asking questions, and people don't like to be asked questions. They just accept it, like it, and go with it. You know, is the mindset of this country. Yeah, I want to ask questions, but if there's information out there, don't tell me it. Give it to me and let me read it and decipher my take on it. Don't tell me what's good for me. So this is going to get crazier from this point on. I'd say starting tomorrow, things are going to get nuttier. As far as civil unrest, people getting more ornerier. The immigration in this country has also ramped up. There's been more homicides, rapes, abductions because of these illegal immigrants that have come in undocumented, and ICE is not able to deport them or anything. They're just slapping them on the wrist and sending them back out on the streets. So that's all over. You know, you can read that anywhere. It's getting to be crazy. I can tell you right now, if you're not a prepper, you're going to want to start teaching yourself to be one. Whether it's food, water, clothing, ways to have a backup generator, spare batteries, whatever it may take you to get through at least 30 days worth of spare food in your compound. And and the thing of it is if we do, it's not on our premises. We've got stuff stored off-site, but we also stay pretty armed. So if you approach my house, even though I got neighbors nearby, if you approach my house, walk in my yard, knock on my door, I will have a weapon in my hand. That goes bang bang. I don't trust anyone anymore as far as society or government and all that. People that come to my place know me. They message me to say, hey, are you there, whatever, look for me to be coming over. But so far we haven't had any encounters, but we have taken measures. And next month, October here, the end of October, if my wife recalls, we went on that vacation 3 years ago. When we got back, we met a guy on YouTube, and from that point, that has gotten us motivated to take action, to get ourselves prepared to be more independent and not codependent on the system, and to get more out of debt. So the big thing I can tell you all too is they're going to make you a slave to their fiat currency, this debt-based system they have. And the only way it can work is as long as you're spending and buying Amazon packages to Walmart and this stupid stuff you don't need. But don't buy into it. And I don't know. I just got done looking up statistics too. I guess GM's going to be laying off 1,600 workers. Sounds like most of it's going to come out of Kansas. But it's a coming. Layoffs are really going to ramp up, and GM wants to go more electric. Now, the port workers too, talking about layoffs, the port workers going on strike, their 2 biggest peeves that they're wanting is they want a 77% pay raise, and they want only a small percentage of like this autonomous that if you would look up China, whether it's on X, YouTube, you go look at the ports and docks when they're unloading shipping containers in China, there's no human being on the dock. It is, all the trucks are autonomous, these little flat skateboard trucks, and all the cranes in all the trucks, the cranes are all autonomous. The gantry cranes go over, they pick up a container, put it on the skateboard truck, and it just goes to its destination. Everything on that dock is autonomous. There is no drivers of the trucks, no human being in the cranes and that. And that's what they want to push on the U.S. docks. So the workers in the ILA longshoreman, union there, they don't want none of that, if any, but very little. They want more of it to be man-powered. So therefore, that'll be left to be seen. I think we, as citizens of this country, really need to be diligent and push back. You can't be a baby boomer or an older Gen X like myself and just say, well, we have the Constitution, so that takes care of us. It's a piece of paper. And unless you're willing to stand up and fight and push back and take a few punches, you're going to have to fight for that sovereign rights that Constitution's given you. Because right now, they're challenging us, the elites, these billionaire elites. These are your Larry Fink, George Soros that run Vanguard, State Street, BlackRock, Bill Gates. These guys, the Klaus Schwab, these guys are wanting to shut down America and take away our sovereign rights. They want one world government, uniparty, one world government. And just a little insight, if you look into it, Putin wouldn't sell out Russia to this unipolar government. And so since he wouldn't, we're going over there and starting to fight with him. So I just, look at the bigger picture. Don't listen to the narrative of the propaganda being fed to you by mainstream media. But Putin didn't want to sell Mother Russia out for this unipolar, for them to come in and tell Russia what to do. And I think we should do the same thing, is push back and throw these people out. So should a civil war, civil unrest come, it's inevitable. It's going to have to happen. It's just brewed up this far, and it's gonna go down like that. But as far as the autonomous and that, I hope these guys push back, because even out here, these self-driving trucks, these electric trucks, semi-trucks, to these electric vehicles, it may happen, but the technology's not there yet. You're trying to put the buggy before the horse. Let the technology catch up and develop and make these things more efficient, where they can charge quicker and you have no infrastructure. So you're trying to get these people to buy, $40,000-$50,000 on a basic to $100,000 vehicle, electric vehicle. It has no range. It has horrible charging. And in the cold and heat, it does not retain. Now remember, an electric car, your Teslas, in your electric pickups, they don't generate any energy. The batteries are just a stored energy that is depleted by utilizing the motors on that vehicle. If you're going to go that route and you want to be that conscious, all I can tell you is there's one thing, and Toyota's already been doing it for 20 years. Buy a damn hybrid. These ass clowns that go around and put a generator in their trunk of their Tesla and then charge it on the side of the road. Dude, you've just been better off buying a hybrid. Gas powered generator, gas engine in there already, and you would have still gotten good mileage. But no, I'll tell you, some people, they buy into something without really looking into it. And the ignorance is just a bliss of the impulse and the people just buying into a narrative. So I am definitely not going to be one buying into any of this. By the time y'all are running around in your little 70-mile-an-hour golf carts, I should be sitting on the porch by then, kicking back and just waiting to kick. But anyhow, folks, that's something to look forward. Starting tomorrow, port strike. That's 2/3 of the ports receiving, so importing and exporting in this country shut down, and they're not going back to work unless they get their way. And even if the government came in and put a gun to their head, the guy said last resort would be, so if you are to unload 100 containers in an 8-hour shift, they're only going to work at 20%. 20% means they're only going to unload 20 containers in an 8-hour shift. They are going to work at that reduced speed, and that'll resonate right through the whole union, the slow rate down. So either way, it's, you know, I'm standing up for these guys. I think we've been duped since they took us off the gold standard in '71, and the corporations have profited more and more, and the wages haven't kept up, and these guys are getting richer and richer. So I say, yeah, go for it. Get your wages, get what you need, and hopefully this will all help resonate, you know, across the whole logistics board, so we can maybe it'll help us in the long run. But until we see what happens with this is going to be the biggest deal. Like I said, a rail strike won't impact our logistics. It will, but not to this magnitude. We can just transition over to truck or run it around the shores, waterways. But once you lock those ports up, now everything's isolated and nothing coming in or going out. It's just a matter of time before inventories are depleted. Gas, medical supplies, food, what have you, you know, fuel. When I say gas, any types of fuel, and winter's coming. So I would say right now, if you're out going to concerts, going on vacations and that, you'd be a fool to be throwing money out right now, because I got a feeling this isn't something that's going to go away in a week. Things are going to happen, and they're going to stay, and inflation is going to go up. I would say here by the end of this year, it's just going to go like this now. So we're going up on inflation. That's my prediction. I don't see it coming down. You saw 2.5. Hey, great. That's about as low as it's going to go, and it's going to go up, and then we're going to be getting accustomed to having high prices and high inflation year in and year out. So they're going to acclimate us to that, because that's that built-in tax that they have on us. So anyhow, folks, that's my spiel for today. I'm going to chime in later and let you know how this trip comes out, because Martinsville, Virginia is my last stop. And then when I crawl out of there and get back up out of West Virginia and back up through Ohio, then the next time, maybe in another couple nights out, I'll chime in and let you know how that went. I don't expect to see anything. I looked at it last night before I went to bed, and I looked at it again today, and my path is clear. So I am north. I'm an arm reach away, but I'm north of all that devastation, so that won't affect my travels, other than just wet roads and rain. I can handle that. So until next time, stay safe, continue educating yourself. Knowledge is learned, not taught, and we will see you all in the next video.